Anthony, and next we have David. Yeah, and David is going to report our longitudinal survey on hall education.
Yes, good afternoon everyone. I'm David and I'm an undergraduate student in the University of Hong Kong and currently living in Hong. So I'm also the research assistant of the task force on the impact of higher education. So I'm not sure that, because I've heard some of the presentation that is talking about maybe from wardens or from a global perspective, but more right here that we'd like to share is about how students will feel about different kinds of activities or different kinds of higher education or the modes of higher education in the University of Hong Kong. And so we have conducted a survey that is led by the task force on the impact of higher education, composed of Dr. Chu, Dr. Samuel Chu, the warden of Swai Hall, and then Dr. Robert Zhou, the warden of RC Lee Hall, and then Mr. Anders Wall, the HKU, the manager, and then some student and graduate representatives. And this task force is supported by wardens of all residential halls and non-residential halls. And then we have decided the 5-year longitudinal study that would like to understand students' changes within the years and how they would feel about the ways of higher education, what they think about that's good or what's bad. And up till now, we have conducted 3 times. That is the first time in 2013, the second time in 2014, and the third time in 2015. And more is going to come. But now right here, we would like to get to know, to share with all of you what we have obtained some of the results. And in the survey, there are quite a number of questions or different types of questions that have been asking our students. For example, like why students would choose to join hall activities, and also what they think about their hall experience. And for example, like academic, what they think, whether hall is providing adequate academic support, and then whether they think that their interpersonal relationship or their relationship with others is also improved through their hall experience. And then one of the aspects that we also emphasize is the cultural and intellectual exchange between local and non-local students. So, and then from the survey that we have conducted for 3 years, we have selected, there are 240 students that have completed the survey for twice or more. And then we have tried to contact all of them, and 54 of them agreed to go for a phone interview. And I guess more will be coming as we're actually contacting more and try to persuade them to get an interview with them so that we can know more about how we can improve our hall education. And among them, 37 of them are local students and 17 of them are non-local students. And actually, what we emphasize more is the significant change. What we so-called significant change is that on the category, for example, like right here we can see the reasons for joining hall activities. Then we will take an average of the score, and then if there's 1 point difference, then we will treat it as a significant change. And then on the question level, that is like here, right here, we can see some questions, like how they will rate their warden, and then if there's a two points difference, then we will treat it as a significant change. And right now, I would like to share with you our results. There is more a qualitative result, yeah. And so, the first topic that we emphasize is on the reasons for joining hall activities. And we can see that most students responded that they join hall activities because they would like to gain self-improvement. They would like to explore their own potential and to improve. And however, when we are asking students whether hall activities should be made compulsory, they would think that some of them agree with that because they think that this could help them building their sense of belonging towards their own residential hall. However, some of them will think that as a university student, they should be given a chance to choose what they would like to do instead of the hall or the students' association forcing them to do something. So this is actually something that hall actually can try to reflect and try to think what we should be giving to our students. And then another thing is that we also found that the pressure imposed by senior year students is actually quite positively affecting students in participating in hall activities. Because when I'm in the junior levels, that I would treat the senior year students, they would be some kind of role model to me that I would try to follow. And when I try to do the interview, conduct the interview, then I heard that most of the students, they would think that the pressure imposed by the senior students is actually helping them to participate more and to explore their own potential. And then the other thing is that in Hong Kong, there's something that we call readmission each year. And however, students wouldn't think that readmission or rewards from joining hall as a reason for them to join activities. So I guess this is something that we can see is that when students are choosing what they should do, then readmission and rewards are not the most important, but instead some kind of thing is the interpersonal relationship that is obtained. And when these students also proceeding to high senior years, they will think to the reason for joining hall activities as more holistic. Instead of they will think about what they can do for their own residential hall, how they can improve, instead of just simply saying that for self-improvement. And the second aspect that we are also finding is the impact of hall experience that is related to academic, interpersonal, and also the personal related outcome. So in Hong Kong U halls, students actually do not put much emphasis on academics within their own hall, but instead, students actually will think that more time or more effort should be put on the extracurricular activities and also the personal development. And most students would agree with that. Currently in Hong Kong U halls, the academic support is enough. For example, with academic advising or different kinds of hall tutors, residential tutors, or guiding them to students to choose the different kinds of courses, and so that this is actually quite good for them already. And somehow, during the interview, then students will think that we should, in Hong Kong U halls, we shouldn't put so much emphasis on the academic related item instead, but because they will think that Hong Kong U halls is actually for complementary to the daily lectures and tutorials, and they think the academics will not be affected due to hall, because they think most importantly is about how they manage their time well. And then the second thing is the personal related outcome. And as far as I guess most of you would know that in Hong Kong U halls we have quite a number of activities, and everyone will choose to participate more. Some kinds of pressure will be imposed by the senior year students or some kind of different kinds of people. And this actually, students will think that this had really built up their sense of belonging or their confidence as well. And however, one interesting thing that we have found out is that for senior year students, they seem to have less significant change on their personal growth. Because it seems that when we are in junior levels, that there will be more students or more senior students guiding us to be our mentor. But then when we proceed to higher, there seems not be that many people to be doing so. So there's quite a number of people will kind of find their ways of why they would choose to live in their hall for the third or fourth year, and they would choose to quit or to reside in somewhere else. So this is something that I guess in Hong Kong U halls we should also try to find out how we can solve this problem. And then apart from that, it's also the people-related outcome. So students treasure the relationship with their homemakes, and they think this can enrich their social circle, and then also the communication skills and the peer support is actually adequate. And one thing I think we found that is also the awareness on the social affairs. During our first year, I'm living in the residential hall for the third year this year, and then students actually have responded that the social awareness in their own halls are actually gradually becoming more important, or the atmosphere is more significant in their own hall, because they think that in halls there's quite a number of activities, but then some of the hall tutors or the warden will also emphasize on the importance of social awareness or the responsibility as a university student. So that's why I guess in Hong Kong U halls the awareness of social affairs is becoming more significant as well. And then apart from that is the cultural and intellectual exchange between local and international students. And students actually appreciate that very much. They would like to do so, but however, they think that currently in Hong Kong U halls, most of the interaction, just some kind of greetings, they would just say hi and bye, and then just, for example, like whether you have having your dinner or lunch yet, but then we don't have any deep interaction with them. For example, like asking their own cultural background or how their home country look like or what's the situation over there. And that's why it seems that students will not gain much from the having local and not international students being together. But then most students will agree with that there should be some integration measures that can mobilize everyone to contribute to the halls. And then they will also appreciate the voluntary participation from students instead of forcing everyone to integrate with one another. They think that if we can find some students or from local students or international students who are actually who would like to participate sincerely devoted, this is quite good. And instead of finding or forcing local students or freshmen to share their bedroom with one another or from international students. And then the other aspect is the negative aspects of hall life. I guess in Hong Kong U halls, most students or most people would think that we are having a very short hall life. Then our hall life will be every day, then we play till 3 or 4, and then we have a lot of inter-hall matches, and then we don't have time to study. Yeah, so I guess when we go around the campus, then when we ask someone, then everyone will say that don't live in hall because it's very short and it's not true. You're not required to do so. Yeah, that's something quite true. But then when we are asking students whether they would choose to live in hall again after the 3 years of stay in their own halls, they think that it is actually quite good or it is meaningful experience for them. They think that the positive aspect is that they can gain an interpersonal relationship that can last till maybe for rest of their life. But however, they also think that there are some negative aspects. For example, the psychological and physical well-being, that they have to participate in a lot of hall functions, hall activities, but then they don't have choice to do so. But we think that the students, they also reflected that the psychological and physical well-being, this is something that's of their own choice, whether they choose to participate late till night for hall activities. They can also actually participate. So students also think that interpersonal relationship that they gain actually overweight the negative aspects of their whole life. And then the last 2 points will be about the tutors and warden. And to students will think that tutors are not actually doing quite well, actually. Yeah, because they will think that we can see that some tutors do interact with students a lot, but then for most of them, students will think that tutors are not doing quite well because they will think the tutors are actually just residing in their own halls, but then they would take no initiative to guide the future directions of their own halls. And we have also found the students actually responded that they think that tutors can be more helpful, for example, like hall activities, how to manage the hall well together with the help of the warden. So I guess this is something that maybe for hall tutors and also hall warden can also try to reflect on how they can enforce their role. And the last one is about the warden. Actually, most students would think that warden can help maintain the hall in order, but then to a certain extent, they think that hall warden doesn't guide a lot of the hall development. Yeah, they think that more collaboration between students and hall warden can be enhanced or can be promoted. And one of the things that we found is that some of tutors, both for tutors and wardens, they focus quite a lot on the hall administration aspect. But then there's not quite interaction, for example, like how students can improve, what students can obtain or what students can gain. So this is actually something, I guess for most students association, they will think that hall tutors and hall wardens can try to do more. But then one thing that we would like to point out is that it is actually hall tutors and hall wardens should try to do something that maybe to discuss with the students, but instead of forcing students to do everything. Yeah, this is something that a certain degree of freedom should be rested with the student. As we are university students, so we should have a chance to try to bear the responsibility of making some of the decisions instead of having everyone to guide us what to do. And right here, this is the end. And this is just 3 years now, and then we have more to come. And then if you would like to know more about this project, just feel free to find us, and we will be more happy to share it with you. Thank you.